We are a country of immigrants. See,
no, we're not. No. We're a country of settlers, not of immigrants.
Okay.
That's a big distinction. Let me tell you the difference. Settlers are people that build a new country that was barren. Immigrants come to a country already built. The people who built this country, they went west to an unconquered, barren country and built a new society. Immigrants helped enrich it. They helped grow it upon that. But the foundation of America were settlers, not immigrants. That is a talking point. Settlers and immigrants are two different things. Settlers come to a barren land and build something new. Immigrants...
Couple things. First of all, they weren't settlers. They were colonizers. Second of all, what is this barren land you're talking about? So now you're not talking about this country. There were definitely people here. Just because they weren't white does not change that fact.
We are a nation of immigrants. This country was not built by immigrants. This country was built by settlers who came here and built this country from nothing. There is a big difference between being a settler and being an immigrant who comes to a developed country to sign up for all sorts of benefits.
Where are all the white undocumented people being deported? You think we don't have Canadians, Northern European, British people? They are here just as illegally as anybody else. They are also committing crimes. This is racism. If you don't see that, I don't know what to tell you.
We are, one and all, immigrants or the sons and daughters.
We are the descendants of 40 million people who left other countries to make a new opportunity for themselves and their children.
The lamp of this grand old lady is brighter today, and the golden door that she guards gleams more brilliantly in the light of an increased liberty for the people from all countries.
I'm convinced that the vast majority of Americans today want these people to have another opportunity.
Ours is a party that welcomes generations of immigrants.
If we ever closed the door to new Americans, our leadership in the world would soon be lost.
Immigration is not just a link to America's past. It's also a bridge to America's future.
This is one country. We like our diversity. We are proud of it.
Amid all the complications of policy, may we never forget that immigration is a blessing and a strength.
These people, our neighbors, our classmates, our friends, they did not come here in search of a free ride or an easy life. They came to work.
We don't demonize immigrants. We don't single them out for attacks. We don't believe they're poisoning the blood of the country. We're a nation of immigrants, and that's why we're so damn strong.
A Donald Trump presidency, we will finally evict all of these illegal aliens that are coming here and stealing jobs from Americans. If you break into my house, should I just accept you because you washed my dishes and made my beds? I say no. I say you need to go back and come back in the right way.
So is that what the Indians should have told white Americans?
Absolutely. Ask Cochise if border control is important.
Because the original illegal alien are European white folk in America.
Agreed.
And so should the Indians stand up today and say deport all white folks back to Europe?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Thanks again for choosing us today. All right, let's jump right in. There is a debate that is going on online, and after seeing this online, I thought to myself, this is a conversation worth mentioning with my audience right here on this platform. And us talking about this, you probably heard of it. People actually claiming that we are settlers, not immigrants, because we came to a barren land and built it from nothing. This is a proud sounding claim, especially popular among white Americans, but this actually takes something away from the truth. Historians like Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz, reminds us that this story actually erases the entire nations of native people, especially hiding the fact that this so-called empty wilderness was actually a home of thriving people and societies, farmed and governed and cared for long before Europeans actually arrived. And these Europeans actually didn't come as humble, settlers looking for peace or cohabitation. They came as colonizers, armed with worldviews and often weapons that claimed land by force. And that's not pioneering settlement, that is dispossession. So when today immigrants, especially Latinos, are told that they are arriving at a country already built, that is actually a fantasy, because that is not taking into position of who was here first and whom land was taken from. So buckle up, because in this video we're gonna unpack this myth and where it came from and why people are debating about this, being a country of settlers and not immigrants, and why would we call Latinos illegal immigrants, yet nobody is actually calling on TVs Canadian illegal immigrants or French illegal immigrants or people from Europe who are illegally in the United States. Why are they always showing Latinos and other illegal immigrants, but never people from the European side? Let's talk about it.
We are a country of immigrants. See,
no, we're not. No. We're a country of settlers, not of immigrants.
Okay.
That's a big distinction. Let me tell you the difference. Settlers are people that build a new country that was barren. Immigrants come to a country already built. The people who built this country, they went west to an unconquered, barren country and built a new society. Immigrants helped enrich it. They helped grow it upon that. But the foundation of America were settlers, not immigrants.
A Donald Trump presidency, we will finally evict all of these illegal aliens that are coming here and stealing jobs from Americans. If you break into my house, should I just accept you because you washed my dishes and made my beds? I say no. I say you need to go back and come back in the right way.
So is that what the Indians should have told white Americans?
Absolutely. Ask Cochise if border control is important.
Because the original illegal alien are European white folk in America.
Agreed.
And so should the Indians stand up today and say deport all white folks back to Europe?
Well, should we learn something from their mistake? Because we are here now.
Or should you learn something from their compassion to give other people an opportunity like was given to you and your ancestors? Learn from their compassion. That's what you should learn from.
I say learn from their mistakes. Ask Geronimo if taking care of your borders is important. We need to do that now.
And I agree with Cochise, Geronimo, and Sitting Bull. Letting in the white man was the worst mistake that the Indians ever could have made. I agree with you. That was one of the greatest mistakes. Even right there in South Africa, they got a similar problem.
We are a nation of immigrants. This country was not built by immigrants. This country was built by settlers who came here and built this country from nothing. There is a big difference between being a settler and being an immigrant who comes to a developed country to sign up for all sorts of benefits. Well, what about the Ellis Island immigrants? Those immigrants were legal. Second of all, those immigrants were not getting all the welfare benefits that we give to immigrants today. The welfare state as we know it today did not exist. So the immigrants coming through Ellis Island in the early 20th century only came here if they were confident that they could support themselves, that they could contribute. Whereas today, illegal immigrants on average cost our government around $68,000 each over a lifetime. That is, they are on average taking out $68,000 more in benefits than they are paying in taxes. So I'm tired of all this mental gymnastics of trashing this country, yet at the same time advocating for more immigration here. If this country is so terrible, then why are you doing all sorts of mental gymnastics to justify endless immigration here? We are a nation of immigrants. This country was not built by immigrants. This country was built by settlers who came here and built this country from nothing.
Because crossing borders is only heroic when white people do it. I hate to break it to you, Settler Dan, but your ancestors, and mine too, were the original illegal aliens. What do you call white people who cross the ocean, show up uninvited to land already inhabited by indigenous people who have lived there for thousands of years, and then destroy their cultures, their languages, their religion, and impose your own? Settlers, or rather, colonizers. And then what do you call people of color who cross the border, work jobs that nobody else wants to work, pay taxes, and try to build a life in the so-called land of opportunity? Illegals. Illegal aliens. Criminals. If you're white, it's exploration. You're a pioneer. You're a settler. And if you're not, you're an invader. And for the record, it wasn't the colonizers that built the United States. It was the immigrants that came after them from every corner of the globe. They built the railroads, the roads, the factories, the farms. They built the United States.
I think this is a fantastic law. It is time to start enforcing the laws that are on the books instead of the state and local officials legislating from their own little tiny offices.
It's an awful law because it's nothing more than a legal way for law enforcement to racially profile Mexicans and Hispanics. I would say to the Hispanic and Mexican community, what you got to do now, hook up with the black community and unite in political power, because if Mexicans and black people unite in Texas, we can control the governor, we can control the lieutenant governor, and we can control politics in Texas, period. I'm saying to Latino brothers and sisters, don't fight them by yourself. If you hook up with black people and we unite, I'm telling you, we can run Texas and then pass laws to deal with those who hate us.
You're advocating for criminal activity, Quanell. These people are not here lawfully. They need to do what our ancestors did, what many Mexicans have done.
Wait a minute.
Many, don't interrupt me.
Your ancestors came here illegally. Wasn't nothing legal about your ancestors. They came illegally and they murdered, they raped, they pillaged a whole race of people. This country, Texas, Arizona, and California, belongs to the Mexicans.
Quanell, get back
it was
to the
stole from them.
You
so
tell me to get back to the
point. They came
no,
here
no,
illegally.
you're not being fair to me here. You say stay on topic. I say, okay, we'll stay on topic. And then as soon as we start talking about illegal immigration, you go back to the black issue. Let's stay on topic.
Your ancestors are the master illegal immigrants.
Give me the opportunity to respond in that, you know what? We're all Americans here. And if you are here legally, absolutely, then we need to come together and we need to pass good laws for enforcing the laws.
Well, perhaps the Native Americans should have passed laws against your ancestors.
Alright guys, there you have it. Actually, in this ploy for mass deportation of illegal immigrants, especially that a lot of Orange Man fans that voted for this as a great America, that actually deported illegal immigrants, especially Latinos. They always show you brown people from the southern side, Latinos being deported, ICE raids against, Latino communities and people who actually look like them. But nobody has ever shown you, illegal Canadian immigrants being deported. They haven't shown us illegal, people who are coming from European countries like France, Germany, Great Britain actually getting deported. It's always Latinos actually getting deported. The only one incidence of, Kaby Lem, the famous TikToker that was actually allegedly deported from the United States. But we all know why. It was a viral video because, I can't actually say that, but it is true. We all know why, because of his looks. But we have never seen Caucasian people from Europe actually being deported on TV. I might be wrong, but you can prove me wrong on the comment section if you have an example where we have seen ICE raiding, maybe Asian communities, where we have seen ICE raiding maybe, European, Italian communities, French communities, Canadian communities in the United States. Let me know in the comments if you think that has happened, and I might be wrong. But the debate where a lot of Caucasian people are coming here and claiming that America is a country of settlers and not immigrants is actually wrong, because they do not understand that this country was not barren as they actually want to claim. The country was inhabited by indigenous nations that were thriving societies that had farming, governance, trade networks for thousands of years before Europeans' arrival. And historians actually, debunk this, especially a historian like Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz emphasizes that, indigenous nations had already built complex civilizations before the Europeans actually arrived on the American continent. So this claim that colonizers actually came to empty land erases this history and actually legitimizes dispossession of indigenous people, livelihood, and land. Now, we need to understand what a settler is, we need to understand what an immigrant is, and we actually need to understand what colonization is. What is really settler colonialism? This isn't just immigration, it's a system that involved, the removal or erasure of indigenous people so that settlers can claim the land permanently. This is absolutely what happened, back then. Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz calls the U.S. a settler colonial state, where government policies aimed at terminating indigenous, existence through land theft and forced removals. So when these guys actually are coming here online and claiming that America is a country of settlers and pointing the fingers at Latinos and other people who are coming to the United States as being actually, immigrants who are coming to a country that is already built. First of all, the United States was built on the backs of foundational black Americans, not on the backs of Caucasian, Americans from Europe. They used actually African Americans to build what you have today as America. And what everybody is actually enjoying today was built by foundational black Americans. Now, to go ahead and point a finger at illegal immigrants, especially coming from the South, indigenous people from Mexico, these Latinos actually were here centuries before Europeans arrived on the continent of Africa. Now, in this debate, people are actually arguing about who is actually an immigrant and who is a settler and who is actually the original immigrant. Well, we have to point the fact that every mass deportation that we have seen video, every ICE raid that has happened in the United States, it's always directed at Latino communities and black and brown people. We haven't seen where ICE is raiding Canadian communities, because for sure we got a lot of Canadians in the United States who actually are there illegally. For sure we got a lot of Europeans coming from European countries like Great Britain, like France, like Germany, like Spain, Italy, all the way to Portugal, who are in the United States illegally. But they have emphasized that illegal immigrants and the most actually, dangerous illegal immigrants are coming from the South, from Mexico, from Colombia, and this is who actually ICE has most of the time targeted. Why are they not actually raiding out and deporting, illegal immigrants from Canada, illegal immigrants from Europe? This is a question that a lot of people have actually started to ask themselves, and in this debate, people are pointing out that European Americans were the first illegal immigrants, especially since they came to the land of the America without any permission from the native tribes and the indigenous people. They forcibly took the land away from the original people, so they actually were not settlers who actually came to a barren land. But let me know in the comments, guys, what do you think about this debate? It's actually a deep conversation worth having and very uncomfortable for some people, I know, but it's worth actually giving a shot and having on this platform. Because what do you think about this debate? Are white Americans actually settlers or are they immigrants? Let me know in the comments. I'm your presenter Joel Mugisha. If you're new, kindly consider subscribing, hit that like button. See you on the next episode.